Date on what is going on in Libya. The White House has confirmed that it is imposing sanctions against Libya. White House press spokesman Jay Carney telling reporters earlier that the White House will impose sanctions against Libya. Earlier on, we heard from the European Union. They had agreed to a set of sanctions. A final decision has not been taken, but they had agreed to a set of sanctions. And among those sanctions that they agreed to was a travel ban in Libya, an arms embargo, as well as an asset freeze. This happening this afternoon in Brussels at the European Union headquarters there. Now, in the meantime, inside Libya, Muammar Gaddafi has given an address. This was a surprise address that he addressed his people in Libya from Green Square. And this address came at a time when there was another day of violence in Libya. Muammar Gaddafi telling the crowd, speaking very defiantly, that he was prepared to arm his people to defeat the enemy. Now, meanwhile, the movement of foreigners out of Libya has been continuing. A ferry carrying about 300 foreigners out of Libya set sail from Tripoli and has now docked at Malta in the Mediterranean. That was a U.S.-chartered ferry carrying hundreds of foreigners who were trying to flee the violence in Libya. They have arrived in Malta. They have, in fact, disembarked from the ship right down there. It was scheduled to leave Tripoli on Wednesday, but had been delayed because of rough weather. We're going to have lots more on the situation in Libya and the crisis there coming up in just a few minutes. Stay with us.
Welcome back to your weather forecast. We are first going to start with Japan. They have had a nice little break over the last couple of days, but more rain is going to be coming into their forecast. As you can see here, this right here is an area of high pressure. That means all the clouds have dissipated, but it's been bringing a little bit of cooler air into the forecast. Now over towards the west, some snow, some rain, and normally this would be bad news, but for China, this is actually very good news over the next couple of days. They have seen some incredible drought conditions over the last weeks and months. So we're going to be getting rain, we're going to be getting snow. The snow will actually stay until the spring melt and help those farmers in need. A little bit further down towards the south, we are going to be seeing some cloudy conditions. This really hasn't changed much over the last couple of days, and it's not going to change much as we go into Sunday. You notice very cloudy conditions all the way to Taipei. Temperatures will stay in the mid to low 20s. As you can see, down towards Manila, though, it's going to be about 29 to about 30 degrees. The heat index will be a little bit higher than that. But down towards Australia, that's where the big news is right now. We're looking at some very wet conditions up here towards the north. Adelaide, 38 degrees. As we go into the next day, 40 degrees. That means all along the Great Bight right here, we're looking at extreme fire dangers for them.
From local traders to international finance, it's commerce that makes the world go round. For global companies and developing markets, communication is the currency, and information is the most valuable commodity. Counting the cost at this time on Al Jazeera.
Two generations face the past in order to understand the present. A young man embarks on a journey with his father in search of answers. Great changes in China have brought their traditional family way of life to a crisis point. Faces of China, at this time on Al Jazeera.
Every Libyan individual and every Libyan tribe will be armed, so Libya will turn into a burning hell.
You're watching Al Jazeera. It's 22 hours GMT. I'm Anand Naidu, bringing you extensive coverage on the crisis in Libya. A draft UN Security Council resolution says the violence in the country may amount to crimes against humanity. It comes amid reports protesters have been killed by security forces in the capital. The Libyan ambassador to the United Nations makes an impassioned plea for help. And hundreds of foreigners fleeing Libya by ferry finally arrive in Malta.
Please, United Nations, save Libya. No to bloodshed, no to killing of innocents.
A defiant Muammar Gaddafi has appeared before his supporters in Tripoli, telling the crowd, "We will continue to fight, we will defeat them, and we will die on Libyan soil." The leader made it very clear he has no intention of standing down despite growing dissent within his country. Making new threats against pro-democracy demonstrators, Gaddafi said he was prepared to arm his people to defeat the enemy.
Reply to them. Answer the agents. Reply to the liars. Reply to the news agencies, radio and televisions of lies, the mass media of lies. This is no media, it is the media of lies. Reply to them. This is the Libyan people. If I'm not loved by my people, I don't deserve to live. If my people, the Arab and African peoples, and all peoples do not love Muammar al-Gaddafi does not deserve to live only for one day. If I am not beloved by my people, I cannot deserve to live. You are the people. Be prepared to defend Libya. Be prepared to defend the great river, the oil. Be prepared to defend your pride, independence, dignity, and glory. Reply to them. Let them feel the embarrassment, feel the shame. Let them feel the humiliation. I am among the public, here in Tripoli, the Green Square. Here are the youth, the children and grandchildren of the martyrs of battles of jihad, who crushed the Italian invasion. The Italian empire was crushed at the hands of your forefathers. We are capable of destroying any aggression. Any aggression can be crushed by the people's will, the armed people. The armed people. And when necessary, weapons depot will be opened for all the Libyans to be armed. All the tribe will be armed, so Libya will turn into a burning hell. I've come here to salute you, salute your courage, and tell you to reply to them. I'm here among the people, among the masses. Muammar al-Gaddafi is not a president or a king or a head of government with no constitutional or administrative powers. He is loved and beloved by the people. We are the people of pride, glory, and dignity, history and struggle. It is the people who brought Italy to its knees. You are the grandchildren of Omar Mukhtar, the grandchildren of revolution, the revolution that brought Italy to its knees and forced Italy to apologize. You are the grandchildren of martyrs, Omar Mukhtar, the hero of the forest, the leader of the revolution and the Libyan resistance. You are the people who forced Italy to apologize and pay compensations with humiliation. It is revolution that made Italy to apologize and pay compensation in humiliation. It is revolution that put Libya to the top, the leader of the third world, if not the whole world. It is revolution that made the Libyan people at the top, made the Libyan people glorified with dignity.
The Libyan ambassador to the United Nations has spoken out in defense of pro-democracy demonstrators. He says the crackdown has to stop.
They are asking for democracy, they are asking for progress, they are asking for freedom, they are asking for their rights. They demonstrated peacefully, they didn't throw a single stone. They were killed. What did Brother Muammar Gaddafi say? He said that these people use these hallucination tablets. Tens of thousands would need mountains of these pills to lose their brains and minds and act. 1 million turned out in Benghazi yesterday. the green mountain of a mountain of tablets that the colonel claims would not be enough. Muammar Gaddafi and his sons are telling the Libyans, either I rule you or I kill you.
We are going to go now to the United Nations headquarters in New York. The Brazilian ambassador to the UN is addressing reporters. Let's take a listen to what she has to say.
Cost lives. How quickly do you think that the Security Council can act? Can you approve a resolution tomorrow? Is that possible?
There is a sense of urgency on the part of the members of the Council, and this is reflected in our decision to continue this consultation tomorrow. And there is a possibility that we might come to a conclusion by tomorrow.
If a referral to the International Criminal Court is included, have any member expressed concern about that? Can you see that being a sticking point?
I prefer not to get into the details of the measures because they are going to be discussed tomorrow. Em português. Há sentido de urgência em relação às deliberações do Conselho. Nós decidimos reunir-nos amanhã, uma outra vez. Ficou marcada uma reunião para amanhã, na parte da manhã. Há sentido de urgência no Conselho de Segurança entre os membros do Conselho. E há sentido também da necessidade.
That is the Brazilian ambassador to the United Nations addressing reporters talking about the situation in Libya. Let's talk to Scott Heidler, who's at the United Nations, covering this for us at the headquarters there in New York. Scott, the United Nations now talking about sanctions. What's the latest there?
Yeah, and this is the Brazilian ambassador to the United Nations. She's the acting president of the Security Council, and they just adjourned closed consultations on Libya. They had a briefing by the Secretary General Ban Ki-moon and a very emotional speech by the Libyan ambassador to the United Nations, and then they went into closed consultations, and then out of that, a press statement was read by the rotating president of the Security Council, and that's what we just heard. What the latest is, and what she essentially detailed, is that a draft resolution has been looked over. Most likely what we're going to see is, and you just heard a reporter asking this question, a resolution passed, and this is what sources are telling us, passed by the end of the day tomorrow. And in this resolution, there's a call for an arms embargo, freezing of assets, a travel ban, several different things. No military action or any real strong action, if you will, outside of sanctions and arms embargoes. And we expect that to be